Wait, I'll be right back.
At the beginning of the movie, it is shown with a group of 3 hunters in the middle of the forest. The leader of the hunters, named Dale, then moved further into the forest to pursue his quarry target so that he was separated from his friends. But suddenly, a burly man named Ryan then appeared and immediately killed Dale. Here it is known that Ryan used to be a former police officer, and Ryan's motive for killing Dale was as revenge because Dale was involved in the massacre of his family several years ago. After killing Dale, Ryan then went to a remote town called Hope. The town was ruled by a violent motorcycle gang that even made the sheriff and all the people there just silent and scared. But for the sake of his revenge mission, Ryan was not afraid at all and continued on his way. He then stopped at a gas station to ask about lodging in the town to the owner of the gas station named Kirby, and Ryan was told that there was only one hotel in this town, which was located not far from the gas station. Because there are rarely people from out of town who visit the city of Hope, the hotel managed by a beautiful girl named Darcy is always empty of visitors, and Darcy herself does not understand why Ryan is so brave to come to the city of Hope, considering the city is known to be very dangerous. But Ryan only replied that he came for business. Elsewhere, an FBI special agent named Frank is organizing a plan with his colleagues to hunt down Dale, who apparently, in addition to committing the crime of killing people, Dale is also a rapist. But while they are discussing, another agent enters the room to tell them that Dale has been found dead. The scene then switches to show a flashback when Ryan became a policeman, at which time he was celebrating a party with his family and friends. And suddenly, a group of criminals came to attack and started shooting everyone there, including Ryan and his family.
Wait, I'll be right back.
The leader of the attackers, named Drake, committed the crime because he had a grudge against the police officers who had put him in prison in the past. So he was determined to take revenge by killing the policemen and all their families. And Ryan was one of the policemen who was targeted, but miraculously Ryan managed to survive despite being shot. In the present, Ryan is seen driving around the city, and he comes across several motorcycles parked in front of a building. Moments later, a motorcycle gang member came out of the building and saw a dog that kept barking at him. He got very upset and pulled out his gun intending to kill the dog. Luckily, before he pulled the trigger, Ryan came to stop him and taught him a lesson by beating him up. But the commotion caused by Ryan was heard by the gang members inside, and they quickly rushed out of the building to check what had happened. The leader of the gang was there, and it was none other than Drake. But Drake seemed to have forgotten Ryan's face considering how many people he had killed. And even though Ryan had beaten up one of his members, he decided to let Ryan go because he didn't have time to take care of Ryan at the moment because of a very important matter. But he felt suspicious of Ryan, so he told his younger brother Rico to keep an eye on the bald man. The next day, Rico met Drake to inform him that a nightclub owner refused to pay the security fee. Angrily, Drake challenged the owner to a one-round boxing match against him. If the man won, Drake promised never to ask to pay the security fee again. And it seems that even though Drake is very old, he is still strong. He was able to beat the big man without difficulty.
One round. With me.
One round.
The forgiving Drake then decided to let the man go, because after all, Drake still needed his money, which, if the man died, of course, Drake would no longer be able to get his money.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Gonna want to leave it on there for about 5 minutes.
But extortion is not the only way Drake and his gang make money. They also sell drugs and have their own laboratory to produce them. and the person responsible for supervising the place is Rico. Indeed, Rico has many tasks in the gang. In addition to checking and supervising the drug production site, he also has to keep an eye on Ryan. In the evening, Rico went to Darcy's hotel to ask if the man who looked like Ryan was in that place, but Darcy refused to answer Rico's question, so Rico threatened her. He said he would send Darcy to hell if Darcy continued to refuse to tell him where Ryan was, and he said the threatening words with a frightening look on his face. Meanwhile, Ryan, who happened to be in the hotel, he heard Rico threaten Darcy, so he stopped Rico by means of violence.
You okay?
Seeing Rico being beaten and thrown around like that, Darcy then warned Ryan that the person he was beating was the younger brother of the brutal biker gang leader named Drake, and surely Drake would take revenge if he knew his younger brother was being abused. But Ryan didn't care at all about those words, but instead he took Rico to the front of Drake's laboratory and tied him to a car. Then he let the car drive and crashed into the laboratory, causing a huge explosion. It didn't take long for Drake and his gang to realize the explosion. They immediately rushed to where the explosion occurred, but there was nothing they could do but stay sadly in the direction of the flames that burned everything. A while later, the sheriff and one of his men came to the scene to check what had happened. Drake and the others were still there, and when they saw the sheriff, Drake approached him and then threatened him by saying that if the sheriff dared to interfere, then he would wipe out the sheriff's family. The sheriff did not have the courage to refute Drake's words because he thought that by letting the gang do what they wanted, he could prevent further bloodshed in the city. The next day, Ryan was back in action as he targeted a truck belonging to the gang that was about to deliver drugs to another city. He followed the convoy secretly before deflating the truck's tires and forcing the driver to get out. When the driver got out, Ryan ambushed him and smashed the man's head against the car door, after which he blew up the truck. The destruction of the truck was noticed by a gang member who then reported it to Drake. Hearing that Drake was very angry because the truck was full of a lot of drugs, of course he had lost a lot of money because someone had destroyed his truck. He wanted the blaster to be found and brought before him alive, even though he had suspected that the troublemaker was Ryan. So to prove that Ryan was the culprit, Drake ordered his men to bring Kirby to their headquarters.
Nice to see you. All right, what does he want?
He then asked Kirby to help him investigate Ryan and find out who he really is. If Ryan is proven guilty, Drake will not hesitate to kill him. And because of fear, inevitably, Kirby obeyed the order. On the same day, Kirby began his investigation of Ryan, and for that, he checked Ryan's car parked near the hotel, hoping to find information about him. But while he was peeking in the car, Ryan then left the hotel so that it forced Kirby to stop his investigation. With an awkward smile, he then invited Ryan to drink at his house, which happened to be not far from the hotel, but Ryan was not easily fooled.
Want to get a beer?
A little early.
When they arrived at Kirby's house, Ryan asked why Kirby searched his car earlier, and because of the question, Kirby admitted that Drake had ordered him to find out about Ryan's identity. But when Kirby finished talking, they then heard the sound of a motorcycle stopping in front of the house. It turned out to be one of Drake's men named Crab, who came to challenge Ryan. Their fight lasted briefly, where Ryan managed to defeat him, but Ryan just let Crab go.
God damn it.
Meanwhile, Drake investigates by meeting the sheriff, and from their conversation, Drake learns that Ryan is an ex-cop who quit his job after his family was slaughtered. Drake thanks the sheriff for the information and gives him some money. That night, Drake and his men went to Kirby's house while the owner was sleeping. Drake was disappointed that Kirby was unreliable, even for simple matters, like finding information about the man. And as punishment for his incompetence, Drake then ordered Crab to kill Kirby. Ryan only learned of Kirby's death the next morning, and he knew that it was Drake's gang that had killed Kirby, because who else could commit such atrocities but their gang? So without wasting time, Ryan then went to one of Drake's nightclubs and beat up all Drake's men who were there. After that, Ryan kidnapped Crab and put him in the trunk of his car. Then he killed Crab and dumped his body in front of the gang's headquarters. Drake was furious to see his favorite men dead, and he immediately ordered all his remaining men to gather and prepare weapons because they would hunt down Ryan. Later that night at the hotel, Darcy heard suspicious noises from outside, so she got up from the sofa and picked up her rifle, getting ready to shoot anyone who broke in. But Ryan, who had guessed that it was his enemy, asked Darcy to take cover behind the reception desk. Moments later, the front door opened slowly and Drake's men entered. Ryan deliberately waited until they were all nearby, and when he felt they were within his reach, he then told Darcy to turn off the lights. Total darkness enveloped the room for the next few seconds as gunshots rang out in rapid succession. When Darcy turned on the lights again, he found all the gang members in the room dead, and the great thing was that Ryan was completely unharmed. But still they realized that the place was not safe, so Ryan took Darcy to leave. But unfortunately, they did not realize that his enemies were waiting around the hotel, which then the gangsters ambushed Ryan and beat him unconscious. When Ryan woke up, he first saw the deadly face of Drake, and the two of them had been taken to the gang's headquarters, and Ryan's hands were now tied to a chair, which made it impossible for him to move freely. Drake told Ryan that he would kill them both, but before finishing them, he would taste Darcy's body first. After saying that, he then ordered one of his men to torture Ryan, and afterward he retreated to the back room, and so the torture began. The bastard man beat Ryan hard, and they seemed to enjoy it. But suddenly Ryan was able to release the rope binding his hands, and in the end, he was able to beat the bastard man back.
But, Drake wants you alive.
After the man was unconscious, Ryan then looked for Darcy, and he searched every corner of the base, which was a ship, but he found Drake's men instead. They immediately surrounded Ryan, trying to beat him with some of their deadly blows, but no matter how hard they tried, Ryan was too tough to beat. After exploring the ship, Ryan finally managed to find Darcy.
Thanks.
He then untied Darcy's hands and they began to look for a way out of the ship. But of course, Drake would not allow Ryan to escape from there. Ryan realized that the time for the final duel had come, so he told Darcy to leave while he fought against Drake. And before they started fighting, Drake told Ryan that he finally remembered Ryan was a former police officer whose family had been massacred before returning to Hope City. And all this time, Drake thought Ryan was dead. After the revelation, the duel between them finally began. The two exchanged blows and Ryan's attack was stronger, so he was able to knock Drake down. But when Ryan thought he had won Drake, then got back up and took a knife intending to stab Ryan from behind. Fortunately, Agent Frank from the FBI came at the right time, and he shot Drake dead before stabbing Ryan. At that time, the FBI did come to Hope City to eradicate the gang led by Drake, who had oppressed the townspeople. Frank decided not to arrest Ryan because he felt the police still needed a figure like him, And thus Ryan left the city and promised that he and Frank would meet again someday.
We're a good cop. You only...
At the end of the movie, Ryan is seen storming a place and shooting at a group of people inside. It turns out that there are still Drake's friends left, who are the ones who participated in the murder of Ryan's family, and now Ryan has come to kill them all. After Ryan's revenge is complete, the movie finally ends.